Hey everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. If you remember in the previous video, we rented a Dirt Perfects skid steer and we had a few issues, weather, and of course breakdowns, but I think we've got everything fixed. Let me show you what we're getting into. All right, so we're trying to level this up a little bit. In previous videos, there was a chicken run here. We moved the chicken run down there. We've also started building a barn for the chickens and the goats. The goats will eventually be fenced into this field down here. And now we're trying to gain a little bit of a level side yard out of the whole ordeal. The reference marks I made here pick up grade from here over, so I kind of have a little bit of an idea where I need to start going into the hill. And I should be able to carry it from there over. And all that dirt's coming down here in this low spot to kind of bring this up, high to low, cut and fill. The basic stuff you got to do in southern Indiana to get a little bit of level ground. I do think this guy right here will probably have to go. This little maple right here, which is not the most attractive maple anyway. Remember, the goats will be coming out of this end of the barn. Imagine the fence coming across out into the field. So we'll go ahead and take that guy out, then we can kind of feather this dirt down into that as well. Since we had an oil leak last time, probably ought to... If you guys can hold that for me, thank you. Oh, she looks good. She looks good. And there is a tear in this track. I trimmed it up. You can tell the chainsaw is sharp, but look at those cuts, huh? Nice rubber chips. Yeah, I trimmed it up so it won't get caught as much, hopefully, and prevent the tear. The bummer is that tear, I mean, it goes all over to here where the cut is, so. Tracks are expensive. We really don't want to mess that up. Go ahead and fire up the comment generator. Yep, I'm just gonna bury all that. Say what you will, that's what I want to do. I could either burn it, I could have it hauled off where it's gonna be buried, or I could just bury it and be done with it. So we're gonna bury it. That's what we're doing. Tracks hate rocks, and we've got a lot of rocks. So one thing we're gonna do as a run today, since we have teeth, we're gonna kind of keep the teeth down every time. A little bit more so than what I would normally do, but we're trying to keep the rocks out in front of the machine or up in the bucket and keep them from going under the tracks. It's slightly concerning because we're slowly picking away around the edge of this stump here. There's no movement yet, not even a wiggle. Yeah. So we are bucket deep all the way around, or the three sides we can access. Hickories have, I don't know if you can see down there, there's a tap root right there. Hickory trees have tap roots, which means not only does it go out left and right, but it goes down. That's what we're battling. But since we're all the way underneath, we're finally starting to get some movement. Try not to spin my tracks too much either, because it's a good way to cut your rubber tracks when you got rocks, spinning them. Give it a little rocky motion here. I don't want to slam it, but I'm not against giving it a little rock here. Oh, that's a good sound. See if we can come in from the bottom side and just get it up out of there. Can you guys still hear me? I knew that one was gonna be a battle, but it wasn't too terrible. Let's see if we can't shove her downhill. Would be a bummer if we rolled it right into the barn. We're gonna try to avoid that. Oh yeah. There we go. That ought to do it. There's a brand new microphone, wireless microphone package that just came out like a month ago that I'm going to order later this week. Can't wait to get it because I want to get your guys' feedback on it. Oh yes. We're maintaining oil level. I'm going to check throughout the day. This strip right here will stay for now as a walkway from our parking area down here, of course. And 10-year plan, we'll put some concrete steps or something there. So it'll be a little bit that stays here, but we just got to kind of work that bank on around. Move! We are slowly starting to work our way around. Long-term 10-year plan, there'll be a concrete wall that goes right about here with a detached garage. That's like 10 years down the line, but all this has to come out anyway, so I'm not too worried about what it does to this railroad tie wall up here. If it moves, it moves. Long-term, it's coming out anyway. Got a little bit of a slope here, so we kind of walk down. Concrete stairs at some point. We may just take some of those flat rocks and do some stone stairs for the time being. Chickens are out, loving the bugs we're turning up. It's doing its regen thing right now. Love that. Well, we just gotta kind of work along here, get this blended in. Then we'll be ready for the power rake. This is the power rake, or Ruckus rake is the brand on this one. When we get the rest of that dirt moved, we'll be ready to use this. Try to get everything blended together. The words you should never say is we're just making a couple last passes and we'll switch to the next step. Those are the words you should never say. How does that even happen? That's not good. Step one, that fitting is broken off inside that block. Couldn't quite find the size I need, but we're going to try to use this and get that out of there. I gotta scoot you guys down just a little bit. Oh heck, it's loose. I'm not even gonna have to drive that in there. Look at this, we'll just be able to spin it right out. How lucky can a fella get? Oh, yes. Yes. Now, the hell is that? None of the 3 stores that sell hydraulic fittings where we're at will have this hydraulic fitting. I know they won't. I've never seen it here. So it's the following day and I finally tracked down the fittings. It was on the 3rd dealer that I called that actually had one in stock. Bummer part about the 3rd dealer means every time you call a dealer, that dealer's further and further away, obviously. After a 3-hour round trip this morning, I was able to get, well, I went ahead and picked up 2 in case we break another one since it was such a hassle this time around. But I picked up the part. And I know what you're thinking, Mike, that's a pretty basic fitting. It's just an O-ring boss on one side. Well, I thought the same thing, but this is actually parallel British thread, or British parallel thread, which is not your typical tapered pipe thread we're used to. British parallel thread on both sides. This is British parallel thread with an O-ring. This is British parallel thread with whatever the heck that is. Our local tractor stores did not have them, and the place we go to get our hydraulic hoses made at did not have them. Now, a typical hydraulic supply store would probably carry these, but that's the same distance as the dealer was, so I just went to the dealer. They were like 10 bucks a piece. Like I said, I went ahead and got 2 of them, so if it ever happens again, we're covered. I'm gonna get this whole thing all put back together. Then I'm gonna throw in a time lapse, and I'm not talking to you again until you know, we get the power rake. Power rake's on the skid steer. I can run it either off the proportional, which is this one, or you can just turn it on or off. Whenever I got these edges like that, I kind of like to pull everything back to me, and then I can take the long passes to clean everything up. That's what we're gonna do. I do like this rake overall. It does a pretty good job. But if I had one complaint, that's as far as this thing tilts back. He used to have a Harley rake for this, and we could tilt it back quite a bit more. We could work these steep banks like this, but I can't work that steep bank. I can't work that transition since this doesn't tilt back far enough. I'm putting too much pressure on those tires. It's just not working out, and that's okay. We're just throwing some clover up here and calling it good enough. We don't plan on making a golf course out of it, but it would be nice if this thing just pitched back a little bit more so we could work stuff like that. In our area, we get a lot of those banks. Now that that is all pulled out to there, I can come over here and do my long passes and shove it all out that way. Okay. I guess we'll take this off. Will say though, not sure I'm a super huge fan of this hose route. I don't want to slide. Look, it's already worn down the metal where it's at there. That's not. Now it's halfway into that hose. Yeah, I don't think that's, we gotta, hold on. While we got her apart, it's got some good old fire hose. And don't get me wrong, I am as shocked as you guys are that a hydraulic hose that does a 90 over an edge of a metal on an implement that causes a lot of vibration would actually rub there. I'm shocked too, but man, it sure did. That's crazy. That's pretty wild. Unreal. All right, well that's all done. When's the explosion? Is that later? I don't know. Somebody sent me a Pizza Plus. Pizza. Oh, Pizzazz. I was gonna pronounce that wrong. Pizzazz Plus. And quesadillas. I got this at the Goodwill for $2. Still got the sticker on it. What a bargain. Sometimes people ask what's in this van trailer down at Mike's lot. It's just straw. Farmer Chris does straw as well as row crops, so Mike just buys a trailer load of straw every year. This is what we ended up with. Man, it looks awesome. That is gonna be a nice little side yard. Pretty sweet view. Now we pretty much just made the canvas. Of course, there's gonna be lots of work to do in the future, like fire pits, seating areas, other stuff, but this is a pretty daggone big step. And let's look at it down here as far as the barn is concerned. And yes, the chickens will unfortunately have to stay in their new run for a few weeks as the grass pops up, because if we let them out, they will scratch all of this and eat any seed and kill any grass that comes up. So they do have to stay in their run, but they've got a nice big run and they seem pretty content in there. So we'll be able to come down here. This will eventually all be gravel all the way around to this tree. So we can bring a side-by-side, four-wheeler, pickup truck, whatever, and pull it right into here, offload whatever we need to through the door. There will be a fence post there, and the fence for the goats will run from that post to there, and then there'll be a gate right here that'll swing open, which means you'll be able to pull down here, offload like we talked about, swing the gate open. You can keep driving straight on forward with whatever you got, the tractor, the side-by-side, the four-wheeler. Then you'll have access to this area, which will also be gravel, so we can back up or back into the barn to clean the barn out, or whatever we want to do, or we can keep on driving straight. And that is the new field access out to the field. So the fence will come down on around that way, and of course fence in. We probably won't do all the field first time around. We'll probably just do maybe half the field, but that'll give us access to the field. And then of course that gives goats access to the field. So the side yard will be fenced off separate. The goats and chickens and stuff won't all be out in the side yard like they used to be, or like the chickens used to be. They'll all have access to the field very easily. I think it's gonna work out really, really well. Still got this maple laying here. We can cut that up and burn it later, or cut it up and let it rot, or whatever we want to do. Not too concerned about that. Got pretty lucky here. This thing's about 4 feet in the ground now, which is fine, because this is a black locust tree. And if you don't know, black locust makes fantastic fence posts. Last just as long, if not longer, than cedar, and that's about the right size for a fence post. And that's the corner of the barn. So we'll probably just end up whacking that off at some point and using that as a corner post. And we're going to use a lot of black locust for our fence posts because we have it, and I don't really feel like paying for fence posts when we have them growing on the property. I don't know. Another look at it from this side. Imagine the gate right here coming out, fence post right about here, fence running over to that maple, and then out and around the edge of the field, gate here that swings open to that fence. think it's gonna be a pretty sweet setup. It should work pretty well and address all the concerns that we had about it.